Malik.
Das wäre wie schon.
Ja.
It was really good to get that first game under our belts, get the nerves out, be able to get through that first game, and not only get the first game out of the way, but play really well and see the guys execute the way we wanted to from preseason. We really didn't have to run a lot of plays. We just executed our set offenses really well. We cleared really well. We rode really well. I think we had a couple turnovers off the ride. I think we were about 90% on our clears. It went about as well as it could have gone yesterday, and we still made some mistakes. We didn't finish a couple times on the crease. Their goalie made some good saves, but to play a team like Hollis and to score 14 goals and only give up a goal was a huge step for us. A big confidence booster, knowing that we can play at that level and hold a good team to a score like that was something.
I think we come out to a good start, a good fast start, and we obviously did come out to a good fast start. I think we had to set the tone early that we were there ready to play and that we were matching their intensity and even going past their intensity. And I think as soon as we matched their intensity, they realized we were just a much more talented team and they couldn't match up with us. And I think really starting the game fast was a key.
I remember last year they came out and they scored the very first goal, got on top of us a little bit. So, the biggest thing we were focusing on was, matching that intensity and, playing our game from the very start rather than, 5 minutes in the first quarter where they have 2 goals. It's a good team. So I think we did a great job of just matching that intensity, getting that first one and keeping the train going. So
actually, the last 2 years they've done that to us. They've gone up like 3-2 on us early in the first quarter. And another big thing with our 2 scrimmages this year was we let up the first goal within a minute or 2 of the game. So coming out and holding them to 0 goals all the way through about halfway through the fourth was really big. It was very important, and just showing that our defense is strong and we're ready to keep everybody to low scores throughout the year is important.
We didn't respect them, and we didn't break down and take good angles and play good body position on them. They were going to run through stick checks. They were going to run by us, and they tried yesterday, but our guys did a really, really good job of just breaking down and said, we're not getting beat. My message to them before the game was play like a team, but win your matchup. If you win your matchup, we're going to have a really good shot at winning this game. If everybody does their job and wins their matchup, we're going to be a tough team to beat this year. And guys did that yesterday. Everybody did their job, so it was fun.
I think stopping their strongest player, which was Ryan Walsh, on attack was very important. Het's goal was to bagel the attackmen, have them get no goals and no assists, and aside from the 1 goal at the end there, we did achieve that, which was nice. Would have liked the shutout against Hollis. That would have felt really good, but getting the W overall and a big win like that, sending a message to the league is really big.
I think it was great, especially we have a very senior Latin defense. We have 3 senior starting defense, a strong defense. I think preseason we had a little rough start here and there on defense, but it really came together the last couple of weeks, and we really played well on defense on yesterday. I think kind of took a little pressure off the goalie. Like, he had to make some nice saves every once in a while, but beginning of the game, our defense really shut down their attackmen, so he didn't really have to start making saves till the second half. So I think he took a little pressure off him. Really, I was like, okay, I got good defense in front of me. Like, all I do is if I make the good stops, we'll be fine.
Not only do we have 3 seniors, but they're all great friends. We're all great friends, and to see them step up like that, in your first season opener, it was exactly how we wanted to see them play. Joe, Jesse, and Scooty, our 3 defenders, just played out of their minds. It was awesome, especially since with our freshmen Avery and Nett, to see him step up, and he wasn't just making the save; he was making the save and getting to the end line, which is something you don't see that often. But it was awesome, and it definitely gave him confidence knowing that he had 3 seniors that had his back at all times, and they weren't going to give up any easy shots. So the defense played awesome.
He played unbelievable. Just coming out there as a freshman, I remember my first game. I was very nervous, but he had all the confidence that he needed, and he played as well as he could. They didn't get that many shots, but the ones they did get, he was making really nice saves. The clears overall were very good, and he showed that he's ready to play at this level.
Come on!
those guys to show that they could exert their will and say, you know what, if you're going to put a pole on me this year, I'm fine with that. Like you're not going to shut me down by just putting a pole on me. It's going to take your best effort every game, and that's at times last year. That's what I was looking for, and we weren't getting. And this year, to start, it's only game one, but it was nice to see them say, you know what, fine, put your best pole on me, bring it. We want that type of competition, and we're going to prove to you that we can handle that. And it was great to see the leadership from Drew and Lee and Michael and Matt DeBriel and some of these guys on offense saying, okay, we see what the defense is doing. We're going to adjust. We've seen this before. We know what we're supposed to do. We've got sets in place for that. And then they went out and not only knew, but they executed it. We have put so much stuff in place for them to kind of read and react on the fly. And it's really cool to see them start now reacting and being able to take it on their own and not having me have to yell out everything from the sidelines. So that's a really nice step that we've taken as a team, and I think bodes well for the future, especially for the playoffs when, teams are going to be throwing stuff at you and you're going to have to adjust under a pressure situation. So, and you say what you want about the first game and it went well, but it was a pressure. It was the first game, and Hollis is a big rival of ours, and the guys took it very seriously.
I think it was really helpful for the team in different ways, especially in the first game of the season. You want to see those, your top go-to guys, really step up and make the plays. I think we did a great job of, getting the game started and getting those first couple goals and kind of everyone calm down, and relax and say, all right, it's 3-0, it's 4-0. We can kind of ease into the game rather than just keep going. I remember the first couple possessions, it was just one pass and dodge. You know what I mean? And that's great if you hit those shots. We did hit those shots, but it may not be like that every game. So, to hit those shots and have the go-to guys kind of step up, I think calmed everybody's nerves and it set us on the right track for the whole game.
It's good. We have a very balanced team. Like, we have a couple superstars. We also have very balanced scoring, and it's good to get everyone involved. Everyone feel confident with the ball. We have, I think, 9 guys that can easily score, and our second line midfield is probably better than most first line midfields for other teams. So we have very balanced scoring. I think it's good to get everyone involved, make everyone feel confident, and I think it's great for the whole team.
It's good to know that we have them producing early on, and we can rely on them if we need it. But other guys were also getting involved, getting assists, and on any given day, anybody could step up, and they stepped up that day, and it helped us get the victory.
Because of the two-sport requirement here, a lot of times the kids on campus don't get a chance to support each other and come to the games and stuff like that. So it's a really neat community event anytime we can have a night game, especially on a Friday where you don't have to get up to go to school the next day. So we're expecting a really big crowd tomorrow night. A lot of parents, I'm sure a lot of St. Thomas parents will be at the game. It should be a really cool atmosphere. I mean, heck, the first Hollis game at 6 o'clock on a Wednesday was a big crowd. So it should be a lot of fun tomorrow night, and a chance to play. We're sort of building on the fact that it's a bigger game. We're going to be in front of a big crowd, and how do the guys react to that? So that'll be a fun test tomorrow.
We all love those games, especially under the lights. Kids can go because they're not playing sports. They're out of sports. It's a Friday night. They have no reason to not go. I mean, they don't do homework or anything, so everyone can be there. And it's just a fun atmosphere playing under the lights always. And I love playing in those big types of games. And since we're a small school with no football, this is kind of, like you said, the equivalent to that.
Yeah, because we don't have football, lacrosse is kind of the closest thing to that. And getting a big crowd here, we don't have big bleachers, but seeing all the students along the fence, it's a really cool environment to be in, and to be able to play with all the fans is really cool and exciting and gets you hyped up for
us. Like, lacrosse is one of the bigger sports at the school. 7 o'clock game, night game against a team last year that we really probably should have lost to in the quarterfinals last year. So it should be a good game. It'll be fun. Obviously, both teams will be very excited, so it should be a fun game. I think we'll come out firing, knowing it's a big game, 7 o'clock. All the fans will be there, so I think it'll be a lot of fun.
With about 4 minutes left, we were down 10-7. I remember saying to myself, we're not losing this game. We cannot lose this game after the season we just had.
I remember we were down 4, I think, going into the fourth quarter, and I thought our season was over. I mean, I thought we had a chance to come back, but it was going to be tough. Like, we were just not playing to our best, and they were playing really well. They were playing, and they were on a hot streak. They've won like 8 or 9 straight games.
I remember looking at the scoreboard with about 4 minutes left, saying we're down by 4 at that point, saying, wow, this run might be over.
First thing I remember is turning to my assistant coach with about 6 minutes left in the game, going, "It's just not our day today. I don't think we're going to be able to do this." And not that we had given up, but just things were just not going right. And but just saying, heck with this. We're just going to throw caution to the wind, and we're just going to go, and we're going to throw everything we got at them and keep fighting. And the kids
come into the playoffs against the 8 seed, a team that we had beaten in the regular season, to come out and lose this game, I would have been devastated. Even though it's not my senior year, still junior year, like, we had such a great season, and to lose that game would have cast some doubt on the great season that we had.
Emotional for another reason too, with Joe's loss of his sister that earlier that morning, so it was just a lot to handle, and it was a lot of emotion into it.
The emotions that were on the field all game long, and it was a weird feel to the start of the game, just sort of guys not knowing sort of how to comfort Joe, and just, but it was sort of a rallying point in that game to kind of help Joe through it, and just the way Joe played in that game. I mean, he really carried the team down the stretch.
Emotions were flying everywhere, and really the last 2 minutes is something that I will never, ever forget.
We scored 3 or 4 goals within like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, which is very impressive. Like, throughout the game, we weren't really consistent on face-offs. The fourth quarter mainly kind of just took over on face-offs, started winning every one. So I think it shows, like, even if down, we have the firepower to come back from any deficit, and we can't ever doubt us if we're down. We still have a chance to win.
And then with about a minute pass, and I scored 2 quick goals, and all of a sudden it's a 2-goal game. We're okay, we can do this. We score another one, and then it gets down to the final seconds. Peter Thompson shoots it, goalie makes a save, and just throws it up the field. And I'm like, oh, well, that's it.
We did not deserve that game the way we played, and we were man up in the last minute, and the goalie saves the shot and just turns with about 14 seconds left, just throws the ball as far down the field as he can, and I get a check on my attack when it goes out of bounds, and I'm just thinking, I got to get the ball up, so I pick it up. Drew's wide open in the middle. I hit Drew. He comes down, fakes to the point guy, passes it down to Jimmy. Jimmy throws a little up and under and puts it in. I just dropped to my knees and looked to the sky, and it was amazing. I don't know how we did it, but we did.
It just all of a sudden you felt momentum turning with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game. We had gotten some turnovers, we had gotten some transition going, and we were just playing like there was no tomorrow when that there wasn't. And we just said, you know what, guys, if we lose, we lose, but let's go down fighting. And they did, and I just remember an incredible, just everything came together. We got a strip down at the other end of the field. Joe moved the ball up the field, found Drew Johnson cutting, streaking in the middle of the field. It was a perfect pass right on his stick. He probably could have walked in and taken the shot, but found one of our attackmen, senior Jimmy O'Brien, sneaking from behind the cage and just stung one right to him, right on his stick, and Jimmy put it in with almost no time left. And I remember just waiting for a second before did it go in? Is there still time? And then you look up and they'd stopped the clock and there was 0.6 seconds left.
They threw it right out of bounds. We got it back about 3 seconds, and then just bing, bang, boom. All of a sudden, it's in the net, and that was crazy. It was such an overwhelming feeling. I didn't really know what to feel, and then the game winner too.
And so we go to overtime, and I think they won the opening face. Came down, had a great shot on net that they high bounced and just went right over, and our goalie was able to back it up, chased it. We clear it, comes down, and we had set up a little sort of zone play, and Michael steps in and rips one, and the goalie gives up a rebound, and again, Jimmy finds it right on the crease, and he was so close to the crease when he put it in. I actually held back a second because I thought they might call him in the crease, but the guy comes over, raises his hand, and that was the game, and it was just such a special game.
It was very emotional, and I think obviously I think she gave us a little luck. I mean, I don't think we win that game. I don't know. I still don't know how we won that game. It's still, if you think back on it, we watch film, we have no clue how we won that game. But I think, a lot of emotion involved in that win. And I think that fourth quarter kind of just, you had, we're like, hey, we got to win for Joe's sister. I think it was a lot of emotion took over in that game.
it's a night. I still tell people this day that there are very few games that I remember vividly, but I can remember almost every minute of that game, and just the sense of relief but joy after the game, and going up and giving his mom a hug and Joe a hug, and just it was a really special day. I saw a kid playing with a lot of emotion, a lot of heart, frustration at times. Sure. I mean, I doubt he slept much. I mean, as much as the family knew that was coming and that it was going to come down the road, you're never prepared for something like that. And just the maturity that Joe showed to be able to play with those emotions but yet still perform at a high level. And sure, I think he did get frustrated at one point, but it was a frustration out of, my team's not doing well, I don't feel like I'm helping my team, how do I, it wasn't malicious in any way. It was like, I need to do this for my team. And he did. He found a way. I mean, he was the spark that brought us back in that 6 minutes at the end there. Because I think they scored a goal and we were down by 4 at one point, and that was where it was really like, man, this just doesn't look like it's going to happen today. And but Joe just didn't let it. He made sure that we moved on that day.
It was unbelievable. My mom and my sister came out onto the field, and it's hard to describe. It was to come back after being down and kind of saying to myself, wow, this is going to be hard to come back. The day that I just had, even though my sister was in the hospital for 8 weeks and we kind of knew that it was declining quickly, it was still a shock. And to go out there and play and win a game like that, it's something I will never forget. Remembering that game, I'll definitely be thinking about it and playing for my sister as I do every single game. But St. Thomas is always a good team, so I think the team's going to be ready to play against them.
You know, I think last year's game was probably one of the most emotional, high-strung, just exciting games I've ever been a part in or even watched. So I think that, from now on, even the generation of kids that are coming through will always think that St. Thomas game, and will always kind of have that emotional feeling just because of how special that game was. So tomorrow, it means a lot in the sense that St. Thomas is going to be a good team, and hopefully we can come up with a good win. But the fact that what happened last year, the whole game, overtime, and the playoffs, I think that kind of just will continue out through, the numerous games we played against St. Thomas over the years.
Maybe they got most of their players back. Well, if we the D and attack been talking to each other, might say, hey, that was a great game last year. That was really crazy, stuff like that. And I'm expecting it to be probably our best game so far, because it seems like every team gets up to play us usually, and especially last year they almost had us. They're probably going to be wanting to get us back. I mean, they literally had us beat with a lot final seconds and they blew it, so they'll be wanting revenge for that.
Rotate!